Peace. I'm your brother Crumb, and you are now watching Crumb TV.
Brother Red Pill representing Know the Ledge, one half of the Twin Pillars. I am here rocking with Crumb TV.
You are watching Crumb TV.
You can find me on Crumb TV.
You can catch me on Crumb TV.
This is Chief Kalanago here at Crumb TV.
I am Joy Allen of the Memoirs of a Karmic Dynasty in the Crumb TV studio.
Honored to be on your program, brother.
Peace.
Peace.
Crumb TV.
Peace. Ashe. Islam. Namaste. Hotep. Grand Rising. Assalamu alaikum. Rahubat. Ubuntu. Oseo. Bundia. Hola. Aloha. Bonjour. Assalamu alaikum. Walaikum salam. Whatever the greeting is in your respective language, I am your humble brother Crumb, here for another installation of Crumb TV. You already know what it is, family. This video is called Torture Part 2. Yes, family, this is the Part 2. My screen keeps jumping and it's kind of distracting me. I don't know. I'm gonna see, can I fix that? Just adjust some things. Maybe my light is too bright. Who knows? I don't know. Let's see what that is. So with that said, family, let me start things off the right way by letting y'all know this video is brought to you by none other than Ma'at42plusgod.com. Let's put some respect on her name, family. That's Ma'at42plusgod.com. I'm going to tell you real quick, because I was meditating on this. I didn't realize it until like maybe last night. Maybe I'm late. You know, it is what it is. But if you take us a moment to just look at all my sponsors are based on like positive things, and their names are dope. So her name is Arthur L.P. Balcom, but the P stands for Page. Her name is Latanya Page, and she's an author. Her real name is Page. That's the last name, like turn a book page. And then today I'm gonna have on the show Keenan Booker, who wrote the book Kicked Out of Heaven. So one sponsor name is Page, and she's an author. My other sponsor, his name is Booker, and he's an author. I mean, what's the chances? And then my third sponsor, she sent me a flyer in the name of European Jesus. Oh, man. I'm supposed to have her ish ready. And, you know, I'm going to keep it 1,000,000%. I forgot. Jeez Louise, and I love her to life. I've been talking about her all day today. I don't even know how I forgot. And she don't got an iPhone because I'm looking on my computer. Dag it. Nope. She don't got no. Oh, yes, you do. Yes, you do. Yes, you do. Yay, we did it. That's how I be talking to my baby. You did it. Yay. Anyway, okay, so boom. This is the flyer she wanted me to show. I should have had it on deck. But hey, you know what? I be screwing up. It is what it is. And this is stuff I be doing within the first 5 minutes. So I got a little time to play and kind of wait for everybody to get in the room. So my final sponsor is L Creations. That's www.ELLE Creations with the S at the end, Creations, LLC.com. L Creations, LLC.com. She has book bags. I don't have the book bags on deck, but there's like 2 steps away. Excuse me. Y'all better subscribe to Crumb TV. That's right, family. That's right. L provides book bags, and they're dope. This is the type of energy we on. If you about that life, press 1. This is the type of energy we on. It's a book bag. If you want your baby to be about that life, press 1. Oh, look at that. We're going to manifest something. If you're trying to manifest something like that, press 1. Oh, oh, oh. All right. So that's, hold on. Let me see. There's more book bags. I'm not going to show you all those book bags, but this is all within the first 5 minutes just to kind of, you know, let everybody get in the room, promote my promoters, so on and so forth. So that's LCreationsLLC.com. Shout out to her. Y'all baby's going back to school. You know your baby's going back to school. You know, just, you know, have some, you know, put some respect on their education. Make it personal. With that said, family, this video is called Torture Part 2, the medieval justice system. So with that said, I want to get right into it. I have my humble brother, Keenan Booker, the God 720. Peace and love, brother. How are you?
What's going on with you, my man? Long time no see.
Yes. All is well. All is truly well. Brother, we did part 1, but let's do part 2. Before we get into that, can you tell the people who you are and where they can find you at?
Yeah, my name is Keenan Booker, aka the God 720. I hail out of Las Vegas, Nevada. I'm an author of 8 books, and you can check out all of that at stargatepublishing.com or keenanbooker.com. And I'm also a rapper. You know, my music is on the God 720. My music is on Spotify underneath the name The God 720 and all other streaming services. So just Google The God 720 or Keenan Booker and everything will show up.
All you have to do is Google either his name, Keenan Booker, or his alias, his moniker, The God 720. Also, it was another thing I was going to say, Stargate Publishing. Stargate, that's even a website too. The brother has he's established. Let's just say that. So with that said, thank you again for coming on. We actually have a PowerPoint based off your book. So I want to start things off right so nobody's confused about what's going on. The brother authored a book called Kicked Out of Heaven, which our PowerPoint today is going to be based off of. And in that book, actually, let me put some respect on the name. It's called Kicked Out of Heaven, The Untold History of the White Races, circa 700, 1700 AD. That's 1,000 years for anybody who want help with that math. This is volume 2. There's, of course, a volume 3 and a volume 1. I was talking about your brother before you came on the line, so the family already got an idea of what to expect from the likes of Keenan Booker, the God 720. So with that said, that's where the information is coming from. Let me just go back real quickly to our part 1, because I can't remember where we left off at.
We left off way down right before the series of pictures. We were just about to get into the meat and potatoes. So scroll down. I'll stop you where.
Let me see. It's 37.
We didn't go over that.
Hold on. Oh, we did not.
That's a different one. This is the witchcraft lecture. This is not.
Oh, that's witchcraft.
The torture, right? That's not the torture. So you got to open up the torture one.
Who? I can't.
That's my phone in the background too, brother. Businessmen. Sorry about that, ladies and gentlemen. We're businessmen. Phones are ringing. Little gnomes are hopping out from the computer. All of that is happening.
Right. Thank you. All right, let me check this one real quick. Let me see what we got. These PowerPoints are very big, so let me just pull this one up to.
Yeah, I did this lecture. Let me just talk to the people about what we're doing here. I need to stop. If you have a fear problem, then go look in the mirror. Okay? And ask yourself why you're scared. What you're scared of. No, this is the wrong one. It's titled torture. So you could just search for torture real quick. Well, ask yourself why you're scared. This is information. This is history. Because it's been presented to you by an individual who isn't scared of delivering a baby or defending myself in specific scenarios relative to street activities. If you've read the Black Man's Bible, you've seen a lot of things that I've been through and I've survived, whatever. And there's a lot of individuals out here who have been through way worse. So to be scared of information or scared of an individual, and you want to blame white supremacy for putting down the fear complex, but then you put down the fear complex in your own brain relative to information, or the individual that's presenting the information. And it really shows you how deep fear may be encoded inside your thinking structure. Is it attached to your DNA? What's the problem here? There need not have any fear because you've been presented with something that you don't know, because there's a lot you don't know. Can you name all 4 types of clouds right now? Can you name all the mountains on the planet? No, you don't. So you can't do that. So there's things that you don't know, in those subjects. If it's relative to history or stuff that's going on in your everyday activity, there's no need to be scared of it because you don't know nothing. And that's the only reason I was able to write this material. If I came to the kicked out of heaven or the medieval responsibility with the attitude of we know, I know, we know they the devil, we know they this, we know they caveman, then I wouldn't have found out none of this. And when you wouldn't have even known where Egyptian magic was locked up at. Because it was locked up right here. Right. And that's why the power, you don't feel the power from all those other scholars like you feeling from this information. I already know because I got all the other scholars too. You know, I read them too. I sat down with them too. And that's why you see me over here representing what I represent, because I'm a power hunter. You know, I don't care about racial complexes and all this other stupid shit that a lot of people like to put in the way. I hunt for power. I don't give a fuck who has it. You understand? And power isn't necessarily finances. There are two separate things. You know, they can be in combination. If you're weak, then you can only seek power through money. But if you're a Hannibal or if you're a Hercules out here, you can get power in a lot of different ways, you know. And that is going to be the dominance over other humans, you know. And that's what we're talking about here today with the criminals that got taken to court and also the executioners that had to get rid of their soul. You understand? Had to deliver. Yeah, that's just what it is. We're dominating here. You know what I'm saying? Women like to ride on top. Men like to hit her doggy style. It's domination. So, you know, that's a part of the human genetic code. Hence, you give birth to children and you have to tell them what to do. Your children are your slaves, you know, for a specific amount of years.
Right.
Yeah. See, there's layers. It's just another layer of existence. That's all this is. That a lot of people don't want to say, oh, that's dark, oh, that's cold, oh, that's depressing. No, it is a reality. And a lot of people aren't designed to accept realities. So they'll automatically shrug it off, you know, or just like a lot of people don't fully comprehend how to achieve. So for those who do have achievements underneath their belt, they'll try to brush it off with laughter or some weak joke, you know, or something of that nature. But yeah, we were right here at the tumbril. You got
Correct.
the exact spot where we were at.
Correct. Yes, sir. I went back and looked at the other one just to make sure we didn't skip anything. And yeah, so let's pick up right here if you don't mind.
Okay. The tumbril, as you can see, was a chair that was pulled through the streets. And it had the criminal, the assailant, the infamous, the notorious. Okay. Those are the type of words that we use for these scenarios. And he would be drugged through the streets, and the people were able to pelt him with food, rotten food, feces, you know, beat him with bricks or whatever the case, on the way to be executed in the middle of the market. So this was the traveling. This was the right. This was like, you know, the county bus back then.
Dang. Right, going to county. Got you.
Right, except for you were going to market to be the entertainment for the day.
Real quickly, just got word that my moderator, she's one of my main moderators, she just had a passing in the family. Just want to give you our condolences. See you. I love you. I appreciate you. I am with you within your times. Just for anybody out there who has suffered a loss or anything like that, you know, this is all about healing. This is all about learning. This is all about growing. I got to be honest, that's something that the God 720 Keenan Booker has really been, even when I first met him, he was, you know, pushing that same narrative. So in the spirit of that, I want to say peace and love to you, Sister Monique Hill. I see you. I love you. Appreciate you. I digress, though. With that said, absolutely. Head cage.
The head cage. This was similar to the Branks. I don't know if we went over the Branks already or if we're about to run into it again, but the Branks, the Scold's Brittle, is also another variation of the head cage. And the head cage was used on disagreeables, you know, individuals who were murmuring at the mouth or individuals who were making what you want to call disturbing the peace in the middle of the streets. They would have this applied to their head, and then they would be pulled through the streets. Yeah, that's the Branks. Right there, that's the Branks. Right, those devices were put on the head of usually women who were loud and obnoxious, is what they call it, and making noise in the streets and needed to be tamed. So they would put this cage on her head and make her stand on the corner of a building, as you see here, chained to the corner of the building. And you will be seen by the populace. You will be the entertainment. They will also pelt you. They will also, like you see the kid around the corner, he had the little leaf underneath the nose to make him jerk his head while he was in the head cage. So yeah, I thought this was crazy when I first read into it. I said, yo, what? Yeah, you see him putting the leaf underneath the nose to make him go crazy while the goat is licking on the feet to even make him go more insane. And his hands are tied to the stock. His hands are underneath the handcuffs there that's attached to the stock. So yeah, this instilled correction. It instilled, you know, how you conduct yourself. If people see you, people see your habits, you know, how you go about in society. If you're disturbing the peace, if you're, you know, intervening into people's business, you're a meddler. You know, we would put the cage on the head.
Actually, I just realized that there was a little card here. I want to see if I can take a shot at reading it. Do you mind?
Yeah, go ahead if you want to.
Brinks or Torture's Cheek Branding Bridle. This head cage was reputedly found in the castle well in the 19th century. It was long held to have been used to restrain those sentenced to be branded on the cheek by the Council of the Marches. However, the device appears to be unique, and its excellent condition calls into doubting the story that it spent its years buried immersed. The Tower Armory suggests that it may in fact have been made in the Curio in mid-19th century Germany, which had a well-known industry producing reproduction suits of armor and weapons. Wow.
Right.
They will put this on you to keep your head still while they branded you. This is crazy. Right.
They brand you on the cheek, brand you on the forehead, brand you on the arm, brand you on the wrist. That's a flogging whip.
Now, I am familiar with flogging due to we had something similar to this. I know this is European, but we had something similar to this in America. However, we just refer to it as whipping. The word flogging is the actual correct terminology.
Right. Well, whipping and flogging actually have a different significance on what's going on. So either way, you're talking about the expression of love when you're whipping or when you're flogging. And this is by the receiver, and this is also by the person who is conducting the whipping. It is the exert of energy to prove or to enforce your correction and instruction, in which to identify your failure, whatever you did, your transgression. We hope that you don't do it again for your own safety. And that is the whole communication that is going on. So yeah, all three of those are different. They'll fuse them in today underneath the definition so you don't get what's going on. But in the medieval times, flogging was actually exclusively religious. Whipping is what it was called on the outside of the religious realm. Either way it goes, whipping and flogging are based in teaching. Caning was specifically was a sexual advent, and caning was usually done by the prostitutes in the brothels towards the senators and other men, other elite men, usually in England, would come in and ask for those type of activities in the brothel.
Right.
Which so flogging in its religious sense is serving your penance. So the penitents, the individuals that you see walking around whipping themselves like this, what they're really doing is they're asking for this, they're asking for forgiveness for the sins of all of mankind. Not specifically them, not specifically their race or culture. Even in the 1500s and the 1400s, they stated that these rituals were done for the cleansing of the sins of mankind. Okay. Now, they would also walk about 1,000 miles while whipping themselves. So great pilgrimages. Like they said, the pilgrims is what came to America. The word, when they use the word pilgrim, that means you're on a religious mission. Okay. A pilgrimage is to visit a location where a religious situation is going down. So during, Christmas time period, they'd say they were going on a pilgrimage to go see Jesus in the manger in Bethlehem, and they would walk 1,000 something miles. And there's proof of them walking because they had real weird inventions that they would use for pulling people along in their traveling. I can't hear you, bro.
My apologies. I actually didn't realize this, even though I went through the PowerPoint several times. You actually correlate, distinguish flogging from whipping. Should we continue?
You sound real robotic.
Okay, 1 second. Let me just ask the family, if you can hear me, press 1. If you can't, then of course you're not going to press anything.
Okay, there you go. You're clear now.
Oh, okay. I sound good?
Yeah, you sound good. Just talk a little louder.
Okay, here, let me just see if I can, let me just do a mic check real quick. Let me check my audio. Can you hear when I touch the mic like that?
I didn't hear when you touched the mic, but I can hear you. All you got to do is just talk louder or turn the volume capacity up where the mic is more sensitive. Yeah, bring the mic closer to you.
Well, now I did do a pulse check with the family. They said they can hear me fine. You might want to check your audio as well.
I'm using I'm on my cell phone, so.
Oh, okay. All right, I got a good condenser mic here. Let me just double check it one more, because it is sensitive. Sometimes when I touch it, it starts tweaking, but no, now it's saying I'm maxing out on audio. All right, so
I can hear you. Go ahead.
Oh, okay. Yeah, you did make a distinction between flogging and whipping. I want to see if it's okay to move forward with that.
You want me to read that, or you said what'd you say?
Yeah, please and thank you.
Okay. It was in the reign of Henry VIII and in the year 1530 that the famous Whipping Act was instituted, directing the vagrants were to be carried to some market town or other place, and there tied to the end of a cart naked and beaten with whips throughout the such market town or other place till the body shall be bloody by reason of such whipping. Vagrants, after being whipped, had to take an oath that they would return to I didn't mean to read that part. It was formerly the custom in London and other places at the time of executions for parents to whip their children as to impress upon their minds the awful lessons of the gallows. So they would actually take their children to the gallows where the criminals were being hung at and whip them right there while watching the criminals hung. Dead.
Now, just want to make sure we're clear on this. Let me just see if I can pull this up as well, because I know, number one, a lot of us don't really realize when we talk about speaking English, we're not from England. So a lot of these things might be foreign to the family, because someone did say, I knew his joint was tweaking. I knew it was tweaking. See, like, this is the thing. I'm on a computer. Like, it ain't going to be no losing connection. All right, here we go. When we talk about the gallows, okay, brother, I was going to ask. Let me see.
Yeah, go ahead. I'm right here. I hear you.
I was going to say, now there's an echo.
The gallows.
Right. So these are the gallows right here. But there's definitely a echo. Do you have headphones, maybe?
No, I don't have any headphones.
Wait, hold on. Yeah, I still hear it. Can you hear that echo?
I don't hear any echo.
Okay, yeah. The family hears an echo as well. I was going to ask if you can come back in, maybe that'll fix it.
Okay.
I think maybe, was somebody trying to call you before?
No. Nobody was trying to call me. Do you want me to come back in?
Please and thank you.
All right. Give me 5 seconds.
Okay. Sorry about that. Just a couple of technical difficulties. It be like that. Bear with us. But as I was saying earlier, when I was talking when he came in. No, that couldn't have been it. When we're dealing with gallows, the gallows is where you go to get you go to get hung. So what the brother was saying, and I gotta be honest, somebody said in the comments, I rock with Keenan because nobody is breaking this stuff down. Family, I gotta give the brother his flowers. Nobody's breaking this stuff down other than him. Who said that? Let me go look at the. Here it is. The guy 720 is one of the best scholars out. No one else is talking about this information. I must confirm. I never knew till this day. To this day, I didn't know they were taking their children out there to the gallows while they seen the people being hung. They would whip the babies out of love, of course, to make sure, hey, don't go down this route. I'm gonna whip you now so that you don't go to the gallows later. Is that in essence what was going on?
Brother, okay? This is why I do what I do, and this is why I came in with that intro. I don't want people to be offended by me. I'm aggressive, I'm abrasive, and I know that. You want to know why? Because I'm serious. You see, seriousness got us here. Seriousness is whipping your children in front of a rotten carcass. That's serious. How serious? Where is the extension? Where is the limit of seriousness?
Right.
You see? So when we look at the pictures that you just had up, I was so serious about this info, I have removed the noose out of the black mind from being a noose.
Teach.
Because now once you understand the thoroughness of history, this is nothing but how criminals met their sentencing. Was with a noose, a hangman. Thousands, millions of individuals were hung before African natives knew what a rope was. They were using twine from trees, you know, and I'm not undermining intelligence. We're dealing with the circumstance of your environment. You understand? So that's what was going on during those times. Now, when you understand this information, you no longer look at a rope as some form of killing specifically black people. No, we are killing specifically criminals and dumbasses that are invading our society and destroying it and bringing ill matters to people. Okay? That's what it is. Ball and chain. That's the last one in existence from the old world. That's a real. Yeah, that's a real one.
Now, I wanted to point this out because you said something very interesting. This is the last one in existence, because a lot of people would challenge me, and in my slaves video part 1, I might have been part 2. I'm almost sure it's White Slaves part 1. I pointed out Carax. African slavery happened in the 1800s, and people try to there were no slave ships. Crumb, you got to find me a slave ship. You won't find a slave ship, but you will find a Carac, because this thing was going on prior to slavery. Just because you can't find it because you're looking for the wrong thing and you don't understand European history. Hold on, here we go.
There have been 2 slave ships found on the coast of America. There is a whole black association dedicated to the search of slave ships that's located in Florida. And they found one off the coast. When it comes to slave ships and their disappearances, you know what happened? It's called business. The wood was too weak to go back into the water, so they broke the wood down, dried it out. They would use it for other things like fireplaces. They would melt down the nails and the chains and use it for other things like trains that they were developing. Okay? So let's look at it like that. If you understood business and how timing was working and how existence was really working during that time, all the chains and all the nails that were used on slave ships turned into train tracks. Does that make sense?
Teach.
Okay, there it is. Now, when it comes to the Real Nigga Etiquette Voodoo Edition, because I have documented the entirety of the Caribbean, there's 55 slave ships inside that book, and it shows you the metaphysics on how they drafted specific psychological spaces out of Africans, or didn't allow it to be included to Africans, and the captains of those slave ships, what happened to the slaves on them, if some of them sunk in the ocean for insurance money. I got all those cases in there. Marlborough was the name of a slave ship. Destiny, Desire, Hope, all of those are different names of slave ships that were that arrived here in America.
There was a famous one called There was a famous one called Pegasus. The guy
Yeah.
who sung Amazing Grace.
Mm-hmm.
I forgot his name, but anyway, somebody in the comments can tell me. But yeah, he was on a slave ship Pegasus. Nonetheless, let's move on if that's okay.
Go ahead. I'm with you.
Bilbo's?
Yeah, Bilbo's. It was just another form of handcuff device. It's ancient. You know, I thought it was pertinent to put it in there since we were talking about the confinement of the criminal before we go into the consequences that were given. But okay, we can go to the next one. This is the tongue terror.
Oh my.
We're not going to deal with the blasphemous mouth. You understand? So we get this thing red hot, and then we pry your mouth open, and we get that little flipping tail out. You know, your little flapper in there.
We're not going to deal with a blasphemous mouth. There's a little blurb here. Do you mind if I read that?
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
A metal device to hold the human tongue clamped in them, if deemed necessary, employed to tear it from its roots. Okay.
Yeah. So sometimes you'll see these individuals in society. You'll see the lepers. You'll see the vagabonds. They're walking around. They can't talk thoroughly because they have no tongue. You know, they can't taste. You know, life is on downhill from there. You know, these are tongs, and these were used to rip the sinews from the body. The sinews is a word that is a metaphysical word, which is a combination of strength and power and essence of human life being attached to the muscles strand. So when they say ripping the sinews, they say that they're ripping not only the physical muscle, but the essence of life from your soul and existence. This little strip of bacon I'm taking out of your arm, you know. And usually they would use that on the rib cage and on the back specifically, but the arms were unique as well.
How do you spell sinews?
Sinew. They're not going to explain the term like that, but when you read the material and you read the term and how it's used repetitively by different individuals, you pick up the essence of how they're using the word, you know.
Okay, you just blew my mind. I pulled it up. For the sake of the family, I'm just going to move forward because I tell you that's graphic. All right, thumb screw.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, I looked and I said, okay. They ripping that out. That's interesting. Thumb screw. What's going on here, brother?
The thumb screw. This is interesting, and I want to put this out here real quick. One thing I like about this whole little torture section, and you know, my fans and people who read the book and contact me, is I always ask them what their favorite torture tool is, and I match that in with their zodiac sign, right? So, one of my friends who was a Virgo, I think, said this was his favorite, the thumb screw. And basically, you know, the cuticles in around the thumbs are very sensitive points. And, you know, if I put the pressure down on it, you know, the blood is going to come squirting out the nails. And you're not going to be able to use the tips of your fingers anymore.
Wow.
Yeah, a lot of these things are permanent damage. Just like, you know, your thievery was permanent damage, or your murder or your rape that you conducted was permanent damage. So we will leave you with permanent damage as well.
An eye for an eye.
Right.
Okay. What else do we have here? Iron gag.
Yeah, this was sort of like the little small device that was inside the branks, the skull's brittle, or the head cage, and this would go inside the mouth. And sometimes there would be blades on it, you know, or a little entrapment to seal the tongue, where you won't be able to move the tongue, or if you did move your tongue or mouth, you would immediately start bleeding because the spikes would hit the insides of your mouth and whatnot.
The iron box on the inside is forced into the mouth and the collar fastened behind his neck. The victim's screams are stifled so as not to disturb the conversation of the torturers. The small hole in the gag is plugged with a fingertip, blocked the passage of air, and caused suffocation.
Yeah. so as not to disturb the conversation of the torturers.
That's deep.
And that's just like the attitude in the penitentiaries today. Lights out. I don't want to hear shit. You know, all that type of shit. Yeah.
Right.
A lot of the mentalities that you find in this realm, you can still see today, man, in job structures and everything else. So you know it was very real.
Teach. Thief or heretic catcher?
Okay, this tool right here was used, like I said, for a thief or for a heretic, and your neck would be entered in through the opening parts, and you would be dragged around the city or dragged to the market to be put into the stocks or whatever further consequences going to happen to you in the market. This is how they would drag you. And there is a religious reasoning behind this as well, because they thought that the thief was, you know, in allegiance with the devil, so they didn't want to touch him. And touching him might affect your status of being holy, and you may be tainted. And with you being tainted, you may have to leave the community for 7 days or whatever the case may be in order for you to remove taint. So they didn't want to touch criminals, and that's why they kept them on that type of thing. Yeah.
Iron Crown. There's a little blurb here. Let me see. Can I just make this bigger? You got some really good information in here. I want to indulge.
Yeah. You want to read it, or you want me to read it?
Can you see it?
Yeah, I can see it.
Okay, go for it.
A late 16th century iron crown of torture that was heated red hot and then lowered onto the head of a victim, primarily used on anyone who conspired to steal the throne or commit the assassination of a ruler. You see that? So anybody who wanted to be, who claimed that they thought they should be king, it was like, we will make you king, okay? And you will get the iron crown. And you see the tongs that he's using right there that are also red hot to rip out the sinews of flesh. And you must also understand that the iron crown is a mockery of Jesus's crown of thorns. Yeah, there's a lot of religious battle and a lot of the symbolism that is going on with deep European thought. And when you understand these areas, you have the glow of comprehension of society and success and common courtesy in your aura. When you conquer this information, doors will be open to you everywhere you go. But that's another form of iron crown, is the Nabi crown that could be tightened on the skull.
Oh, got you. I see it.
Yeah, this one is real interesting. This one is called the breast ripper. The one on the right is called the Spanish spider. And they were put on the fire until being red hot, and then they were clamped onto a woman's breast, and the breast would be ripped off. And this is usually done to witches exclusively. Like I stated in the material, for any male to be able to do this, there definitely has to be a neglect towards breastfeeding. So the activities of the wet houses, which is documented also in volume 1, shows that there wasn't a high relation in between the father and the mother, the son and the mother, and there wasn't breastfeeding practices. What would happen is when a noble would have a child, they would take their child and give it to the peasants in the village for about 2-3 years at a wet house, and they would just leave the baby there. And then they would come back maybe 3, maybe 5 years later and pick the child up. So it was known for the wet nurses to breastfeed the child and not directly the mother. So for you to have a mentality to be able to conduct this type of activity, it has to be unconscious in the level of anti-love, hatred, neglect, for you to be able to have the capacity to do that. But then at the same time, we don't know what the women were doing to the little boys, who these little boys grew up to burn women at the stake. So a lot of the activity of what the women were doing at the wet houses, which is what you see today with the rise of a lot of homosexuals, is the activity of what the mothers are doing to the boys inside behind closed doors. That's not being reported. And go ahead.
I heard this account in America several times, whether it been anecdotal, meaning personal, or whether it been a case study. And they said children who do breastfeed develop a stronger bond with the mother, because this is symbolic, than children who don't. And I left it at that, didn't look deeper into it. I know you should breastfeed for a plethora of reasons. I didn't know that in medieval Europe, if she did not breastfeed, we just take the breast off.
Well, no, that's not what happened. What I just gave you was the lead up of where the mentality of the individuals who could conduct this activity came from. It would have to come from some form of neglect or some form of abuse that was done on the little males in order for the males to grow up to be able to conduct that activity and be blind to any form of guilt from conducting that activity. Now, we don't know what the elder women were doing. We can only rely on the court transcripts of the activity that was going on during the medieval times to state on if it was valid or invalid for a woman to get her breast cut off. Now, if you want to go down to the details, let me say this one last thing. They're doing it in Africa right now. Right now, 2021, in Africa, they're doing that activity. So I don't even know. I didn't even research the connection to see if the medieval got that from, see if Europeans got that from Africa. But go put in African witches right now in your Google and click on images and tell me what you see.
Right. They take a very hard line towards that type of thing. And I appreciate you putting everything in context. I wanted to also add this. A part of why Kicked Out of Heaven, the book, is so special is because you've done something for me. I was reading it. I didn't know what I was reading. I'm like, okay, this is a conversation. They're like, yeah, in a courtroom, those are transcripts. In the books, all three volumes, there are court transcripts, family. So I don't want y'all to think this is anybody's opinion. We are going off hard facts and evidence. So I want to give you your flowers while you're here to say, you really did your due diligence. Shall we continue?
Yeah, go ahead. Did you want to read that or me?
Please, if you don't mind.
Okay. In Scotland, the jougs were usually fastened to a church door, a treach in a churchyard, the post of a church gate, a market cross or a marketron or weighing post, and not frequently to prison doors. Persons neglecting to attend church on the Sunday were frequently put into the jougs. Now, the jougs, and when they say the churchyard, the original word is kirkyard. The Scotland kirkyards, K-I-R-K. The baby uses that word a lot. That's where he's getting it from. It's medieval. It's really church. It's the root word of church. Now, the jougs were a tool that was once again fastened on the outside of the building. When it came to America, the jougs were actually inside of the first homes and attached above the fireplace. And they were used as the new form of branks or scold brittle. So when it comes to New York, when it comes to Philadelphia, Washington, D.C., Boston, and those locations, you can still find old homes that were built in the 1800s that have this chain and collar on it attached to the fireplace. And if the man of the house thought the woman was nagging too much, he would go call the sheriff, and the sheriff would come to the house and put her in the jougs.
I was with you 1,000,000%. I thought I didn't realize that was a collar to go around the neck. I was thinking maybe the wrist or something like that. But you just blew my mind. It goes around. That's a collar.
Yeah,
Damn.
it goes around the. And then you see, what do you see? You see it as iron, right?
Right.
You see it as rusted. You see it as metal, right? Ain't that what we complained about in the slavery? Right? Now, these things were being used so far that we can know all the way back to at least the 1200s, 1300s. Okay. The devices that were used before that time even get more brutal. So these are the stocks.
We've talked about the stocks. I've never talked about the stocks so much until I got around you. The stocks. Let's talk about it.
Okay. The stocks, once again, was for entertainment in the market. Sometimes they wouldn't even have market unless the stocks were available for the entertainment. For the people to relieve their stress by punishing the criminal in their own specific, unique ways. And sometimes they let a donkey hop on the back of a prostitute that was acting unruly. Okay.
While she was in the stocks, a donkey would, depending on the situation, mount her.
Yeah, they'll put a donkey on her. They'll put a donkey on her if you was out there messing with the Jews, or you was out there, being too loud, being unruly. We need to tame. We will tame the hot passions. You understand?
Wow. The pillory or the bird cage.
The pillory of the bird cage. These things were hung out in front of the king's door. And you also have another one called the gibbet, which is sort of similar to it. And you will also find these at the crossroads. The crossroads is where you meet the devil, like the song Bone Thugs had the song Crossroads. The reason why that song blew up the way it did is because of the energy that's embedded inside the word crossroads, which is a multitude. Right, which is a multitude of different stories in the medieval times based on how the devil is played out in literature. He is repetitively met at the crossroads. If you look up Robert Johnson, who is held as the father of jazz music, he met the devil at the crossroads. Okay, and at the crossroads, part of the energy that's embedded inside that's where they would hang criminals. And when they hung the criminal at the crossroad, he'd rot there. So they put him in there alive, but 10 years later, we return the bones to the family.
Brother, would you mind reading this one?
Yeah, go ahead. Depending on the temper of the crowd, the pillory could be either a comparatively mild form of punishment or a death sentence. If an unpopular prisoner was pilloried, a large mob would gather carrying stones, mud pies, rotten eggs, and decayed vegetables. This would also include feces and other materials like the offal, which is the organs of the inside of animals, would be thrown at these individuals. In London, the vegetable stalls at Covent Garden did a brisk trade, selling worthless produce for this purpose. After the current Jack Ketch had fastened the prisoner in the pillory, he had to run for his life as the shower of rocks and garbage started. As the prisoner could not use his hands, he often suffocated from the sticky mass covering his face. If he had any money, he would bribe Ketch to stand below the pillory's platform and keep wiping his face with a long pole. That word catch is also a nickname that was given to hangmen or executioners, and that is the root word to catch up. So catch up is named after an executioner, after the nickname of an executioner. And, you get pilloried, you are the entertainment, and we will throw whatever we want at you because you're a loser in life. And that's what we're not going to be. You have to understand that a lot of this public shaming also ripped away the devil's pride. You see, it is the pride is one of the 7 deadly sins. So when you see white people consistently doing these hoax and pranks on each other, they're doing that to make sure it is a maintenance structure of making sure you don't have pride attached to your activity. Now, when you don't have pride attached to your characteristic, guess what? You can do anything. You see, and that's why Kevin O'Leary can put on a duck outfit and he can just go sell the duck stuff in front of the store and talk to the children. Black males would be like, yeah, I own the business. I'm not putting on a fucking duck uniform. You see, there's a different mentality, right? Is because they make sure that pride is not a part of their character operation, and they keep that in check with hazings, hoaxes, their activities at swingers and all of that type of shit. It's a maintenance to make sure that they're not operating like the devil. And you think that is the devil. That's what's so crazy about it. Yeah, iron. That's the gibbet iron. So the gibbet iron is just like the pillory. And, they usually would have this on the coast, as you see, as a warning to the pirates. And also, once again, individuals would be usually sentenced to life in this one. Like it stated on the last statement, the pillory or the bird cage, you may be sentenced there for only a little bit of time. And the gibbets, which was usually for pirates on the coast, you were sentenced to death. And, when the pirate ship showed up, they'd see some individuals in different stages of decomposition. They would also see some bones there.
So anytime you went to the gibbet, that was a death sentence.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
This one is very interesting. This is one of the most interesting ones I've got in the book. Mount Fuck On is what I call it. And what this is an open 3-walled building that keeps criminals in each slot, and those birds that are flying around are snacking. So this thing stood on the outside of France for about the span of 200, 300 years. And when you went here, you never came back. If you were sentenced to Mount Fuck On, you went there, they chained you up. You were in chains. You see the ladder on the left, one in the middle? You were on chains. They put you in one of them slots to hang there. The birds got so accustomed that you were coming here to die that they would just start picking on you while you were alive, because they knew that you were never going to leave. And there are reports of bones being returned back to families from this location after the span of 10 to 15 years. So that's what this place was. They said you can smell it from 50 miles off.
Scaffold. I had nothing to say to that. What was I going to say?
The silence said it all, brother. The silence said it all. I'm saying right now.
Can somebody? All right, you know what? Let me try my best. We're gonna, can I get a damn Gina?
Yeah, do that. Yeah, do that. Get a damn. Can I get a damn Gina in the motherfucker? Because this shit here. That shit is crazy, bro. Tell me what you think about that.
I went through the PowerPoint prior to us going live just to try to, edit the pictures just to make them big as possible. If there was any blank space that I saw, just for the visual effect of the family, anything I thought I could improve. Really, there was really nothing. But I went through everything, and I remember seeing this, and it didn't resonate with me. I'm like, okay, it just looks like I wasn't sure what to make of it because it didn't have any information around it.
Right.
Now that I'm hearing this is unbelievable. I gotta be honest,
bro. That's got to be the most. Don, like I said, that was the most outrageous thing I think I ran into. And then when they said you can smell it like 50 miles away. Like, it was crazy. And then the way they got all the birds painted around it, I was like, yo, these cats was not playing.
This is most creative. I got to be honest with you. I want to ask the audience, Mount Fuck On versus the Gibbet Iron. I'm not trying to make a comparison of what's the worst way to die. I don't live my life thinking about these things, but hell, since we're on the topic of torture, I say we have at it. You tell me, family, which is worse in your opinion? All right, 6 million ways to die. So choose Gibbet Iron or Mount Fuck On. Which is worse? Press 1 if Gibbet Iron is just the absolute worst. Press 2 if you going for Mount Fuck On. I want to know.
On the Gibbet Iron, you'll probably get a better breeze.
You know what?
You're by the water. Because Mount Fuck On is going to be some hot stench up in there, my nigga.
Oh, you know what? The family's going to side with you. I think the family's going to side with you on this one.
Okay. But yeah, this is what's real. This is what's in their blood. This is what built seriousness inside their thinking structure. You see? Right. And this is why a lot of people don't have it. A lot of people don't have seriousness, bro. And the threat of life and death will do it, But go to the next one, because we got some more hot ones to go through. The scaffold. This is the great performance. We put the criminal on the scaffold. I want you to pay attention to what's going on in the middle here. So he's laying on the wheel, which is the next slide we're about to go to. Yeah, you can go to it. And we wrap you in the wheel, okay? When we wrap you in the wheel, we take the metal pipe and we crack your limbs while you face the stars of heaven. You understand? That's how they would talk. They're like, as his face is turned towards God, he will be strike 40 times on the limbs with a metal rod, and they'll go cracking on your ass. And then after they hit you with the metal bars and crack your limbs all up, they cut your limbs off, they cut your head off, and they put it on the pike in the middle. Put your torso on the pike in the middle. See how the dude over here in the corner is all wrapped up? Now, this picture right here comes from ancient Rome. So that was before the medieval times. And what you're looking at is saints being killed. Even that one that's being rolled on top of the spikes, those are different ways that saints were killed in Rome. You know, that's why you don't hear nothing about Roman history, because Roman history is filled with emperors slaughtering Christians and those Christians turning into saints.
Ooh.
Yeah, that's why you don't know anything about the saints, because you don't know Roman history. Like, you know what I'm saying? So here goes another one. The spiked wheel, they would hook your back onto there and roll and twist you over the fire. That's why you see those spikes on that wheel right there.
Right.
Okay, right. Now, this one over here is sort of complicated. You have to understand that torture was not a thing. Torture is designed to keep you alive. Did you get that part? So
yeah, as disturbing as it is, you know, because some of this stuff, it took a while to sink in, but that right there, you know, it was pretty clear to me. And you know, right now your words are resonating, like, oh my fucking God. But nonetheless, yeah. I'm quiet, but I'm
right.
I'm effed
a
up.
lot of this stuff is outlandish, right? So a lot of the processes for a lot of these torture situations would take hours and hours and hours to do. And that's what you're looking at on the right-hand side here, where you see that little, that metal clip coming out the wheel. If you go all the way over here to the right, yeah. You see that metal rim coming out of the wheel a little bit on both of those wheels. And what that was used for was they would take the wheel, it would grab it like this, you know, and slam that metal part onto your legs or onto your arms while you were tied to the ground. You know, but then at the same time, what you have to understand, a humongous metaphysic is embedding life into the wheel. And that's why we have these fancy ass cars today.
Stop it.
Yeah, you felt all of that. You felt all of that, did you?
But I mean, with all due respect, brother, don't you drive one of those fancy cars?
That's right, of course. Yes, I have a wood wheel steering wheel. That's right. If you look at that's what you're talking about. That's right, oak, baby. You understand? You look on the wall behind me in the in my videos that I do on my channel. There's a wheel hanging on the wall. Let me ask you something. Let's talk about it a little bit. Let me throw a question at you. If you went home right now to your mom's house, you know, and you had a white girl in a raggedy t-shirt and she had a collar on and a chain, and you know, you told your mom, sit down, no, you don't got to go get no food, and have this girl go to the refrigerator and bite the water bottle like a little puppy and come bring it to your mom, what would your mom do? What would your mom do?
I don't think my mom will go for that.
Okay, then, so we don't got the psyche for conquering. And we're not designing conquering. We're not designing conquerors. You're too weak. Okay? You're not accepting the reality of the situations here. You're not accepting the reality of history and what has occurred. You know? You're not. So all of the hoorah that we claim we're doing, our women aren't going to be supportive of that. Our elders aren't going to be supportive of that. They don't have the brutality in their blood. They don't have it in them, you know, because I mean, I don't know what my mom would do, you know. I really don't know what my mom would do, you know. My sister would be like, okay, that's a bit much, you know. She would get used to it though. My sister would get used to it, but she would say, okay, this is new, you know. But yeah, that's what I'm saying. They have the mentality where they could do that right in because that's a reality. I want a foot warmer. You understand? I want a bed warmer. Why not? You know? You know, because see, when you go into deep areas of history and anthropology, you understand that some people have a limit of intelligence in their genetics. Some people have bum DNA, is what I'm telling you. Some people have vagabond DNA, and their DNA limitation will never allow them to get past the space of vagabond. They are embedded on their habits of being poor. You see?
Right. And if I could add value to that, I was talking to somebody, or rather chiding them, because you know this talk is just toxic. So somebody said, "Oh, I'm broke." I said, "Well, here, let me help you out. You're not broke. But if you are broke, broke is a mindset that money can't fix." Can somebody quote me on that? You're not broke. Broke is a mindset. And if you are broke, money can't fix it.
Because you have no will. You have no will. Will, W-H-E-E-L. Will, W-I-L-L. The will is life. The will is movement. The will is the gear. The will is inside the clock. The will is your car. The will is the train's operations. The will is what makes the plane land. Are we understanding the power of the will? Okay.
Yeah,
the will is what you give your children when you die. Okay. The dedication, the future, the legacy. Okay. The will. The will. Go ahead.
You know what the greatest invention on earth is?
What?
If anybody cares to look at it, look it up. The greatest invention of all time is the will.
Yeah.
If you look it up right now, is the will the greatest invention of all time? If you Google that, anybody under the sound of my voice who's going to catch this later or even right now, yeah, that's what you will find, the will. And you even expounded on the will. Do you mind if we continue?
Yeah. I wanted to say, when you said that broke statement, that's what I felt. When you said that, I felt the power of the wheel. Broke, that's where they broke them at. It was called breaking on the wheel. So let's read it.
Ooh, you teaching.
Yeah,
I'm sorry,
see it right there, the first statement. Breaking on the wheel, especially on the continent, was so common that it almost became the standard manner of executing criminals. A large wheel, like a cartwheel, was mounted vertically on a scaffold. The condemned was tied, spread-eagled on the wheel, his arms and legs extended as far as possible and fastened to the rim, so they were approximately at right angles to the spokes. The executioner then broke each bone separately with an iron bar, finally killing the prisoner with a blow across the chest. In certain cases, the final blow was not given. The executioner broke the man's ribs, and the wheel was then mounted on a pole set through the hub, the condemned being left to die slowly. A variation of this torture consisted of putting each of the condemned's limbs, one after the other, in a wooden trough with vertical slits cut in the sides. The executioner then used a small but very heavy wheel with an iron rim that he dropped through the slits in succession, crushing the limb by degrees, starting at the extremity and working up to the body. This device was usually used in torture chambers because it was not so suitable for public display as breaking on the wheel. But another metaphysic for our street lights, and light is life, is also these wheels. Because the criminals that they didn't kill immediately, they would tie their limbs in between the wheel, and they would put them on these big ass, like 20-foot poles. And the wheel would be at the top of the pole, and the birds would be coming to eat the criminal. And one thing you have to understand about the birds is there's also a metaphysics of feeding the angels. You know, birds are considered angels because they're right. So you're feeding the angels the best flesh on the planet.
Yeah, because there was I think it was a story about a black angel or a dark angel, and he was a crow. They made a movie about it. It was the movie didn't come out well, but the idea was spectacular. But indeed, the cauldron.
The cauldron. What you're looking at right there is a picture that is not the Mandingo movie. The Mandingo movie, everybody says, oh, they boiled a nigga in the movie. The cauldron. What you're looking at is an 8-year-old boy named Saint Vitus. Okay? that's being boiled in Rome. He is now a saint. He is a saint over music and dancing. Okay. He's highly connected to me. But anyways, this is the cauldrons that they would say the witches were boiling the babies in, or making their witches brew, would be in these humongous pots called cauldrons. So if somebody was sentenced to boiling, which boiling did happen, they would be boiled in one of these.
Wow. Shall I read? Do you mind?
Yeah, go ahead. I'm with you.
Other martyrs were cooked. I'm right here in the bottom. Let me just make this bigger just for the family.
Yeah.
Just in case they want to read along. Other martyrs were cooked in pots, cauldrons, and frying pans. Some of the pots had detachable handles so the executioners could insert the handles after the victims had been immersed for some time in boiling oil or water and carry the pot around the arena without having the handles become too hot to hold. Saint Boniface died in this manner, his knees having first been doubled up and his head tied to them so he would fit in the pot. The cauldrons were much bigger and could hold several Christians at a time. The victims were tied together, one man's ankles to the next man's wrist, and put in the cauldron while the water was still cold. Then the fire was lighted, and the struggles of the prisoners to escape while roped together afforded much amusement. Unlike the frying pan used in Antiochus, the pans in the arenas were large enough to hold an entire man.
Yeah. Or several. Like it said, it could hold several Christians at once.
In year 1531, when Henry VIII was king, an act was passed for boiling prisoners to death. The preamble of the statute states that one Richard Rose or Coke or a cook by one Richard Rose or Coke, a cook, by putting poison in some food intended for the household of the Bishop of Rochester and for the poor of the parish in which his lordship's palace was situated in Lambeth Marsh, occasioned the death of a man and a woman and a serious illness of several others. He was found guilty of treason and sentenced to be boiled to death without benefit of clergy, that is, that no abatement of the sentence was to be made on account of his ecclesiastical connection, nor to be allowed any indemnity. Indemnity?
Yeah, indemnity.
Indemnity, such was commonly the privilege of clerical offenders. He was publicly boiled to death at Smithfield, and the act ordained that all manner of poisoners should meet the same doom henceforth. So basically, this guy was a cook, and he tried to poison the king. So because he was a cook, they cooked his ass. I mean, or am I reading it wrong?
No, you're right. You know, yeah, he was a cook, and because poison is water related, then there, you know, they would, how you did your crime was also going to be similar to how you met your punishment, you know. So I wanted to go back to the name, though, the science on the name, where it said cook, but his name was Coke or Roos. So you see that
overall. Hold on. Stop. I'm sorry. I don't want to cut your wisdom, but I just got a download based off what you just said. It's not even a download. It was the obvious for anybody who knows what's on the paper, but obviously I did not know. So I'm going to say it's a download because I just came into the understanding. So now, you know that I work with the Minister of Information, whose name is Jacoby Ponder. His day job is he's a chef. He's Chef Ponder. I used to do marketing and project management for him as a cook. And when he was doing his little classes and all, he would make a gravy. But he said in a hood, we called it gravy. In France or in French or in Europe in old times in culinary school, they would call it a ruse.
Right, but look, you said the brother's name was Ponder. His last name was Ponder?
Right.
Ponderosa. That's cooking too.
Ponderosa. There you
right.
go.
So he was in his industry based off of his name, just like Martha Stewart. Stewart is the art of stew.
Oh my God. Teach, Muhammad.
So, right, just like my last name is Booker, bookmaker. So
Booker.
Right. I'm just giving that to the people to let them know you're already working your industry and living your industry. It's your last name. Go ahead.
Which another one I found to be interesting was Amelia Earhart. Remember what her profession was?
Mm-hmm. She's a mile of the heart in the air.
Right. She was a pilot who loved flying. Earhart.
Right.
Okay.
Right. Then got lost in the right.
Hitler. He's famous for aggression. Oh, okay. What a coinky dink.
Yeah.
Admiral Byrd. He was famous and he got his flying. What's
when you approach this level, this is called the black and green. This is the Matrix level right here. You understand?
Could I throw one more out there? Right, this is the Matrix, brother. Do you know who my other sponsor is, other than you being Keenan Booker, the author? The girl's name is LaTanya Page, and she's an author. Before you came on, anybody who's been up here for the whole hour and 10 minutes, y'all know before Keenan Booker, the God 720 came on, I was telling y'all, what's the coincidences that my sponsor is an author whose name is Page and my other sponsor is an author whose name is Booker? This bitch feel like the goddamn Matrix.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is. And you have to understand what your definition and significance is here on this planet, and it's going to be found in your name. So do not go changing your names. Don't do that. Don't do that. Because I'm going to tell you right now, my name is Keenan Booker, which Keenan is Irish and Booker is Anglo-Saxon. And if I would have changed my name, I would have never had access to the medieval.
Okay.
Yeah, you were given European names for a specific reason. Now conquer that and don't run from it.
So now Cook, Ruse, Coke, before I made my point, because I, was in a culinary arena and that's how I knew that, because I don't know my way around the kitchen except for the refrigerator, but y'all know how that be. Anyway, what was the point you were going to make?
Oh, I was going to make the point that Coke is next to cook, and then Ruse could also be short for rooster, which is also the chicken being cooked. So that would be a part of the lineup on why he was a cook, Got it. Right. Is a know thyself type of thing. I just wanted to slip out there for the people.
Absolutely. Sawed in half. Oh my God. No.
Yeah. And they hung you upside down so you could last longer. This is for the transgressor, for the heretic. Look, bro, people don't play no games, man. That's why, we got a real messed up world today because nobody has seriousness. Everything is hee ha, and people are dying at the stoplight because they haven't seen or felt the energy of individuals going through this type of activity, whether they were innocent or guilty.
My apologies. I'm trying to focus on you and read the comments. Just because I want to interact with the people who are interacting with us. Latoya said, "Why y'all messing me up like this on my lunch?" This is deep.
So you could get enough seriousness to never have a lunch on a job again. You could just walk to your refrigerator and do what you need to do. Yeah, because and let me talk about that line too, is because a lot of individuals like myself and a lot of others went out there before the ages of 18, 15 and was doing extremely wild walk on the thin ice type of activity that showed them the reality of the effects of situations that would not allow them to conduct that type of activity again as an adult, and the maturity enforced you into individualism and self-dependence and dependence, which once again is giving back to the people by surviving off of entrepreneurship. And all that can be done is by repetitive communication. Yes, you're going to have to manipulate pretty ladies in order to build your skills of how people operate. And yes, you're going to have to go out there and fight dudes and walk on the edge before the age of 18. Okay. Yeah. And that's just what it is. So I want people to be serious, be monstrous, be ferocious. Be Dan Pena. Have you seen him? Shit. You want to talk about me being ferocious? Go check him out. But go ahead.
Death by 1,000 cuts. Antonio Shaw says, "Yo, big up to the God, Keenan Booker 720."
Appreciate it, brother.
Death by 1,000 cuts. What do we got here?
This is usually Orient. A lot of these torture mechanisms are blamed to be Chinese and coming from the Oriental people. And this is one of them. So basically, the strips of flesh were then cut off with a sharp knife and the shirt tightened again. A more common form was simply to cut off portions of the body, one after another, according to a carefully devised plan that would keep the victim alive until the end. However, this generally meant that the number of cuts had to be limited to 120, 72, 36, or 24. The death of 24 cuts went like this. Cuts 1 and 2, the eyebrows; 3 and 4, the shoulders; 5 and 6, the breast; 7 and 8, forearms; 9 and 10, upper arms; 11 and 12, the buttocks; 13 and 14, the calves; and 16, the heels; 17 and 18, the hands; and 19 and 20, the arms; 21 and 22, the feet; 23 and 24, the legs. So basically, if you ever study knife fighting, you don't stab when you knife fight, you cut. And the reason being is because when you move, the skin clips. And when the skin clips, it causes more pain. So that's what they're doing here, right, with the death of 1,000 cuts. And you see how this individual is being sliced. You know?
Just to share with the family, I was going to make this the thumbnail for this video, but I felt like I was going to get flagged. So
yeah,
I
that's
didn't
a bit
do
much.
it. But if I would have made this the thumbnail, this video would have probably went viral just off of this. That's all I'll say about that. I'm sorry.
Yeah, you see, those are Asiatic people. You can look at the background, you can look at the hairstyles. Yeah, that's an Oriental. I didn't find that anywhere in European. There's certain torture devices that are only Chinese, and there's certain torture devices that are only European, and then there's some that's similar that you could definitely see was transferred over eons of time. You know, transfer from culture to culture.
Okay.
This is the rake, and this is the metaphysic for the rakes that you use for your leaves. And also the title of a rake, which is a young dragon male who is out there being ferocious on the ladies. And he is also termed a rake. And that's what we have. You make it red hot, you tie the person up with their stomach facing the board, and you slowly but surely drag the sinews off of the back of the rib cage, because those hooks will go deep into your flesh enough where your rib cage is automatically going to be exposed.
Okay. Barrel roll.
The barrel roll. You put a person in the barrel, you just roll it down the hill. And usually you got to close both sides.
Oh man. Yeah, that's crazy. That's creative.
The Moors were using this on the Europeans. The Europeans were using this on their criminals. Okay. This stuff got a lot of history, brother.
Whoa. You just said we're gonna have to address this. I'm sorry. You know, and I don't even be wanting to go there, but I just can't, you know, if it comes into the universe, I gotta address it. It's not like I want to, but when Keenan said this, why didn't you say nothing? So I got okay,
But
brother.
the Moors did do that. That's the Barbary slave trade. Do you not know about it? The Barbary slave trade that occurred with the Turks and the Saracens, that was before the 1200s, like 700 to 1100. Oh my God, brother. The shit that was going on, that's why it's hard to find documents on it, because it's very embarrassing. But it's actually embarrassing on both sides, if we want to talk about the etiquette and the morale structure that we utilize today. So you do find that activity. The Moors did put that on the Europeans. The Europeans did put that on the Moors. I mean, it went vice versa. You know, Jews were involved. Everybody was involved.
Burned at the stake. Now, you know, I tend to be from the old school. I like the good old fashioned torture that I'm familiar with. You know, this other stuff is making me burn. I can deal with this. Like, okay, I know a little bit about that.
Yeah. So go ahead.
Burned alive was from early times the recognized method of uprooting heretical notions of religious belief of every class. The first to suffer from this cause in England was Albin, who died at the stake in the year AD 304. Since his day, thousands have suffered death on account of their religious belief through intolerance. But that is not a subject we intend dealing with at the present time.
Right. Religions. Go ahead.
I'm sorry, there's more. Shall I continue?
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
Burning alive was the most common form of torturous death employed in the Middle Ages. One method used by the Spanish Inquisition has already been described. The most common technique was simply to tie the victim to a stake and surround her. Wow. The victims were usually women. I was going to say, why did they even say her? Anyway, I'm sorry. The most common technique was simply to tie the victim to the stake and surround her with faggots. But sometimes the stake was surrounded by a circular wall of, I don't even want to say this, I feel like I'm going to get in trouble, an opening being left in the wall so the condemned could be led through it and tied to the stake. The gap was then filled in. This is how Joan of Arc died. Although for artistic purposes, she is usually shown tied on the top of a heap of FAG. The FAGGOT wall was so high that after her death, the executioner had to pull it down with bill hooks so the crowd could see her charred remains and be convinced that the witch hadn't escaped by art magic. By the 18th century, only individuals guilty of treason could be burned by such treason, including counterfeiting, heresy, and poisoning your husband, but not poisoning your wife. According to law, counterfeiting was a defiance of the king's authority. Heresy was a defiance of God, and a wife stood in the same relation to her husband as she did to God.
Let me say something real quick. You could say that word, okay? And here's why. Because you know the context and the content of the word. You see, when they can strip a word from you, it's because they're insulting your intelligence on that word. You know, it's just like I talk to, sometimes I'll get into the whole man, woman, gender battle that's going on right now, online, just nitpicking, and yeah, just clowning, whatever the fuck. I'm not worried about it. You see all these books back here? This is men, you know what I'm saying? We run shit. I give a fuck. But so I get into it, and the white girls would get up in there and the white girls would be like, oh, this and that, this and that. And I'll just say, it's a shame, You used to give birth to the Alexander the Great, to the George Washington, and then you give birth to the pink-haired faggot now. What's going on? When I say that to them, they shut the fuck down. Let me tell you what it is. They play games with natives based off of your lack of intelligence. See, we're all statistical numbers. So they know how much you're watching the Netflix. They know how much you're sitting on your ass. They know what you purchase. They know all of that shit. So they play games with their verbal shit based off of what they already know about you on the back end. You see? So when it comes to certain wordplay, and we're talking about burning at the stake, or we're talking about, witches were burned at the stake for 400 years and you had etiquette classes, don't compare your activity with Native women as if they went through the same thing historically. I say that to white women, they shut the fuck down, and because it's a reality. And it's a reality that they didn't expect the Native to figure out, because you're not supposed to be looking at history. You are to have a basketball. Okay, you are to have a basketball, a microphone. Your woman is to have the strip club, and that is about the most of your existence. Go ahead.
I want to add value and confirm what you're saying, and just to put this caveat out there to the family. Not the family. The outside listening ear hustlers who may want to say anything contrary because they are ignorant, not saying ignorant based on emotion, but just stating the fact. So to anybody who may be ignorant, to misconceive what we're saying, this is not hate speech, but this is for educational use only, is what the good brother is saying. And I back that. I just want to put it out there because somebody may try to come against us but we know the spirit in which we operate. This is not hate speech, but please no, I'm sorry, thank you. And with that said, let's please continue.
Yeah. So what you're seeing right here is the faggot. You see it? Oh, there's a bundle of sticks everywhere, all inside the circle. All of those bundles of sticks together, which metaphysically is why the word was attached to the homosexual here in America, is because of the utilization of it in the medieval times.
And bundle of sticks.
Right, a bundle of sticks.
I'm with you.
And they were used to kill a woman. Isn't a homosexual's whole... Exactly. A homosexual's position is to try to replace the female, and the female isn't defending her position in that area in society. I have yet to see it, but she fails to realize, or she is in allegiance with these quote unquote sexual substitutes that the female is allowing to be provided in society instead of combating it. You see what I'm saying? So go ahead.
You said so much right then. Today, I posted a video on my Instagram, shameless plug, go give me a Grammy, crumbtv_. So I posted a a picture on my Instagram, and let me just see if I can pull up some receipts just to make sure I'm not selling a fishtail to anybody. Because every time we do these videos, brother, you be teaching. Let me just see, can I refresh just to see what we got?
It's magic, brother. What we're going through when you fucking with the God 720, you are at Harry Potter University. What is that?
The family can't see that. Hold on. I'm trying to. It's two.
It's gonna right there.
You see 556 likes?
Uh-huh.
So I posted this right here. Let me scroll down. And this is just a couple hours ago. It says me and the boys, I'm just going to read it to you. Me and the boys, hours trying to find a picture of Michelle Obama pregnant. Now, I'm going somewhere with this. Because today, usually, I'm not going to lie, I'm just in asshole mode. If you come against me, I'm just going to block you. I'm really not going to say too much of anything. But I was feeling clever today. So this one girl comes against me, and let me take the glasses off. I only need the glasses to see far. I don't need them close up. But anyway, this is what the conversation was to your point. She says, where is it at? This is okay. Masculinizing, I can't say that word. Masculinizing Black women isn't funny. And I said to her in response, I agree, but you can't ignore the might of the new trans woman movement. I think it goes deep. That's all. I mean, disrespect. And she came against me again. And I said, again, I agree. You have nothing to prove you're a woman. Just acknowledge that men are out here trying to convince everyone that they are women, and it's working. So for someone like myself, I must be conscious of the deeper reality of what's going on versus me just trying to make fun and rag on somebody. So when you went into the science of the word, and then you show, because after you went into the science, it didn't make sense to me until you showed me the picture. A picture's worth 1,000 words. And the fact that they're using this exclusively on, no, I'm sorry, not exclusively, but predominantly on women. So now I'm like, wow. And then you come and say, after I post this, 3 hours ago? Oh yeah, the woman has to make sure she stands in defense, or they're going to do this, because it's the irony. You cook the cook, you're going to do this to the, and I'm like, oh my God, bro.
Right, you are in allegiance. This is court thinking. And a lot of Black women don't go to court. So court thinking, and when you read the style of how the medieval is written, you are automatically downloaded with the format of communication, the jargon of when it comes to law, when it comes to taxes and money, and also when it comes to medical terminology. Your brain will be operated to comprehend all of those forms of litigation on the higher levels. Okay. So when we're talking about the etymology side of the word faggot and the word and the metaphysics that's included to it, the homosexual is against the female, and he does try to replace the female, and he does try to dress like and imitate the female. And I got all of that in volume 1, talking about the Molly houses. They would even do a little ritual where they were trying to recreate the pregnancy of the female inside the Molly houses, and they called the Molly on the drug Molly, and it's all homo shit inside that word. You see what I'm saying? So if we have no go ahead. Go ahead.
I was talking to somebody about popping mollies, and it was just a conversation, but I didn't even want to have a conversation anymore because they was like, you know, the best way to pop your molly, right? I said, no, because I've never popped a molly. She said, well, actually, here, brother, let me ask you, do you know the best way to pop a molly?
No, but I know where you're about to go, because it's the same shit as the you're talking about passing the liver and all of that shit. It's the same shit that was taught from the feds about the liquor and the tampon.
The same way you pop a molly is the same way you get drunk on liquor. If you really want to get drunk.
Right. You put the
if
liquor
you
in
really
the
want this
tampon
molly,
and then shove it up your fucking hide. That's what
For those who may not know the best way to pop a molly or the best way to get drunk, you got to do it the gay way.
You know?
In the bed. In the
and
booty.
that's and that's another metaphysics to the whole burning at the stake is the woman burning by the phallus, but also the woman stripping on the stripper pole. You know, that's a whole metaphysics that's going on with the burning in the stake and the witches at the stake. A woman's life being destroyed by a phallus, hence pregnancy, all of that, or, you know, STDs or socialism, whatever the case. And then the fact that, you know, going to the stripper club, and when you go to the strip club, she's swinging all on the pole in the nude, you know, exposed. A prostitute will always have far more respect than a stripper. Prostitutes is, and let me talk about this for a second. It goes back to seriousness and who's a bullshitter. Now, is a porn star a bullshitter, or is the stripper the bullshitter? Let me ask you, who's the bullshitter? The porn star or the stripper?
The stripper.
Okay. Now, in white culture, do they have more porn stars or strippers?
Porn stars.
And in black culture, do they have more strippers or porn stars?
I'm out of here. I'm out of here.
Full of shit. Full of shit. I'm a serious motherfucker. We go from A to Z. Did you know the letter Z is actually numbers 7 and 2 combined? That's Thoth's letter. Is Z. You know? Yes, we need beverage. We need beverage. Okay.
I had to drink to that. I had to refresh myself. Woosah.
Bullshitters. So it's the mentality of bullshit, and it's the teasing and the gameplay. And we're not going to get to the gameplay. We're going to go from A to Z, and then we're going to start over and do A to Z again, and then we're going to start over and do A to Z again. That's how existence works. Not this playing around and MNOP. We don't bounce around in the fucking middle and try to be cute. Cute and stupid don't work industrially. You see what I'm saying? It doesn't work in the realms of business, you know? So when you want to look at the totality of it, we see who's serious. We see who's a bullshitter based on feminine activity.
Well, I wanted to say this to the family. We, the last time we started from, of course, slide 1. That's where you start. And it was called torture. You know, this is the the original European justice system. And we went all the way to slide 50. Or no, I think we went to 50, 51 or somewhere around there is where we started at. From right here, we have made it all the way to slide 101. And there is a little bit less than 50 slides to go.
Yeah, we could do a third show.
I think we're going to need to do a part 3.
Yeah, this is juicy. I like this. And I want to put this out because I know that last thing I just said about the porn and strippers may have affected some people. Look, it's called perfectionist. Okay? That's all the Muslim is. It's all the Christian is. It's all Catholicism is. It's all the Judaic is they have built their own form of perfection, and they stick to that map. And supposedly at the end, they're supposed to get some type of God or a heaven. Okay, don't be mad at me because I pick out how to survive. I am a single father. I am on my dolo and I have to survive. So guess what I have to do? I have to find failure before failure fucks me up. And I also have to find progression before somebody else grabs it or messes it up or I miss the opportunity. You understand? That is the reality of the scenario. As a father, I find fuck up and I fix fuck up. You understand? So if I'm looking at the black race, what am I going to look for first? Fuck up. You understand? So do not get upset or weary at the God 720 because I can find your fuck ups at the unconscious level. Don't get weary at the God 720 because I approach psychology and sociology and went all the way down to the levels of werewolves and vampires, and none of our scholars have touched those levels even in subconsciously, especially in another culture. Okay, so our black scholars have not done the psychology sociology realm on majority rule. The majority of black people don't like psychology and sociology. The first thing they'll tell you is, oh, that don't mean this because he went and did that. You don't know if this and that gonna happen with this and that. It's like, nigga, get your biscuit out the fucking gravy. Okay, you see what I'm saying? Okay, that's the reality to the scenario. Yes, I am the way I am. I'm aggressive. I expect for Crumb to be out there on the block with the microphone aggressive. Why? Because America is attacking us. You understand me? White women, black women, Mexican women attack us. You understand what I'm telling you? Mexican males, white males, they looking out to fuck us up. They all think we're LeBron James at 50 cents. So if we come abrasive, if we're cussing nigga, guess what? Your pussy ass just gonna have to deal with it. Because that's what you designed here in America. I'm not finna take your abuse and sit here and smile with the wide eyes, with the precious moment eyeballs. We don't do the pussy shit around here. No tampon is on the God 720. You understand that?
You know,
to be clear,
I was told by somebody when they heard me speak the way I speak, I thought they were going to be like, I can't believe you used that tone and you said those words. But the person, after I blew fire, they was like, huh? Lions roar. I was like, Lions roar. Lions roar.
That's what it is. Dragons are here. The dragons are back. We're not playing that shit, man. Don't expect for anybody to be soft and expect this same form of ravaging behind closed doors, pretty young lady. That's all there is to that. So stop running with the pussy shit.
The same energy. I go Hamilton. This ain't just the internet.
Hamilton, nigga.
Brother,
exactly.
We've met our time. I was going to ask if you could tell the people who you are, where they can find you at, please.
Yeah, this is Keenan Booker, a.k.a. The God 720. You can find me at StargatePublishing.com. Go get the 3-volume series, over 1,000 pictures, 1,500 of the Caucasian Soul, so you can understand how to operate from New York to California on royalty status. You understand me? You get this book right here. You find it at kickedoutofheaven.com. Only $100 is being shipped out the door every single day. So that's what it is. It's Keenan Booker, a.k.a. The God 720, and you are now rocking with Crumb TV.
Wow. Mic drop. If I didn't need this mic, I would drop it. Just for the effect of this one video. That's how much. Kicked Out of Heaven. Do you hear me? Kickedoutofheaven.com. Kickedoutofheaven.com. All right. You heard it here, folks. First, folks, Keenan Booker, the God 720. With that said, I am your humble brother Crumb. I want to ask you, family, if you do support the movement, the information, all of the above, drop $1 in the Cash App, # Crumb TV. If you do that, I will be gracious. Let me just actually shout the people out from the last video who supported, because there's a lot of people supporting, not just the sponsors. The sponsors do support, but I want to just make sure I put some respect on y'all name. You know, how I do anything is how I do everything. And I want to start my videos with respect. I want to end these videos with respect. So yesterday, give me a second. Maquan Nimmons, if I miss, he says, keep being a voice and a hero. A hero? I'm your humble brother. I don't look at myself as a hero. I don't see that. That somebody sees that in me is humbling. I want to thank you. I do this for those type of people, for that energy that I put in your life, because you give it right back. India J, she sent $2 for the dollar challenge. That's double the money. I want to thank you, sis. I see you. I love you. I appreciate you. Juan Harney says, for righteous work. The work is righteous. The work is righteous. Kick Rocks. Kick Rocks is a clothing line who has provided. I will give back to Kick Rocks. 6669. That's his thing. 6669. We dealing with the numbers, family. I don't need these when I look close. Allah Regime. Peace and love. Nakia Prevo. Peace and love. Kush God. Peace and love. Surwa Pool. Surwa, I am gonna. Woo, girl. I love Serwa. Queenie, thanks for the live lesson. Reiki for Choo Choo. Choo Choo. I'm sure I'm reading that wrong. My apologies. Earl McFay for the dollar challenge. I see y'all. I love y'all. I appreciate y'all. Let's close this thing out. I got some things to do. I want to let y'all know, if you don't want to do that, that's fine, family. I'm not tripping. It's a donation. I do have sponsors. Keenan Booker is a sponsor, family. He's a sponsor. He's not up here because well, actually he's up here because he's fucking amazing. But in addition to that, he's also a sponsor. We do right by our people. But with that said, if you want to support, you can just hit the like button. Don't be such a weirdo, family. Y'all be in the background. Who goes to the party and just sits on the wall? You don't, 130 people been watching this joint for an hour and almost 2 hours and don't want to hit the like button? Come on, family. Show me some love. Drop a comment. Let me know what you think. With that said, share this video. Tell a friend to tell a friend. Last but not least, if you have not, hit that subscribe button. I'm not asking or begging nobody for nothing, family. You owe me. You learn something, then you subscribe. I want to leave you the exact same way. Oh, I'm sorry. Here we go. I want to pay just a couple more bills, just to pay some bills. Pay my automobiles. I want to give a big shout out to L Creations, LCreationsLLC.com. Shout out to her. You can go to lcreations.com and get a book bag. These are what the book bags look like, family. They are so dope. You can rock with me if you rock with me. It's all educational over here, family. We're not promoting marijuana. Shout out to Keenan Booker. He's a single dad. We're not promoting that crap. Y'all better step the game up. You're dealing with authors. You're dealing with scholars. You're dealing with people that you can put your babies onto and say you can aspire for something better. It don't gotta be the regular whatever that you see in the news or on BET. So shout out to all of the family. I want to leave you guys and girls, family, brothers and sisters, men and women, gentlemen and ladies. I want to leave you the exact same way I came to you. You already know what it is. Peace.
Brother Red Pill representing Know the Ledge, one half of the Twin Pillars. I am here rocking with Crumb TV.
You are watching Crumb TV.
You can find me on Crumb TV.
You can catch me on Crumb TV.
This is Chief Kalanago here on Crumb TV.
I am Joy Allen of the Memoirs of a Karmic Dynasty in the Crumb TV studio.
Honored to be on your program, brother.
Peace.
Peace.
Crumb.